Hi there, welcome to the Nuggets of Inspiration with Percy, where we live to inspire. I'm your host, Percy Masilela, also known as Percy Clarks SA on Instagram. This is a podcast that is missioned to inspire you guys and to give you insight and people's stories and to give you inspiration and motivation in all phases of life. In every factor, we touch on finances, mental health, business wise, friendship wise, relationship, all that you can think of. And we hope you guys are going to enjoy this one and keep following us, keep loving us, and we thank you for the support. Cheers.
Very good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Nugget of Inspiration with Percy, where we live to inspire. I'm your host, Percy Masilela, and in today's episode, we'll be focusing, or rather sharing the reminder that we need to trust in God. And as the episode is plainly titled Trust God, I think it's a very important reminder or an emphasis that has to be made in everyone or in any person who is going through a rough patch or a tough time. It's important to be reminded that you need to trust God. There's no other belief or there's no other thing that will sustain you deeply as much as you trust God. I'll just phrase this whole episode with the scripture from the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5. It says that trust in God with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, that in all your ways you should acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. So that's the plain and detailed emphasis of trusting in God. It's simply trusting in him with all our hearts. And so I'll just express, or rather pass few notes that I wrote down regarding trusting in God, and just in different parts of trusting in God. And so, yeah, trusting in God is a belief or a form of faith that is practiced by an individual. So it's actually a personal thing. Practiced by an individual in various religious and spiritual traditions. It involves having confidence and reliance on the higher power, often described as God, the divine, the universe, or a supreme being, depending on one's religious or philosophical perspective. And so the concept of trusting in God can manifest in various ways. So that's why I'm saying that I will be explaining um, how to trust in God, or the various ways that you can trust in God. And mainly, it is a personal thing. We have different encounters with God, or we have different encounters, or personal rather encounters that with God. So some of encounters that I will list, or the several ways that trusting God can manifest in your life, can be different from the ones that I'm gonna be touching on in this episode, or can be relatable to the ones that I'm gonna be sharing to you. So the first one is faith and surrender. Faith is the key to trusting in God, because as the scripture says that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So it's actually the key or the currency that we use to trust and to lay our lives and to lay our whole being and trust in God. So trusting in God often entitles having faith in the wisdom and the benevolence of the higher power. It means surrendering to the belief that there is a higher power or the higher plan or purpose, even if it may not always be immediately evident. The second point says that prayer and worship Many people trust in God by engaging in acts of prayer, meditation, or worship. Through the practice, through these practices rather, they seek guidance, express gratitude, and find confidence in the presence of the divine. The third point says, find strength in difficult times. So trusting in God can provide a solace or support during challenging times in your life. So believers may draw strength from their faith, knowing that they are not alone and that there is a higher power looking out for them. The fourth point says that seeking guidance. So seeking guidance simply means that trusting in God may involve seeking guidance and direction from the divine which is Him, God Himself. And people might turn to their religious scriptures. They can seek guidance from their spiritual leaders or an inner intuition to make decisions or navigate life's complexities. Um, the com- the complexity of life. And so the fifth point says that living with a purpose and morality. I think purpose also reminds us that we have to trust in God, because what Miles Murray was said that God gives us a vision or the last portion of our journey, which is the vision that we have and the goals that we have. But he never gives you the path that you will walk until that revealed um revealed vision of your life. And so that's why the scripture also says that um the plans of God for your life are not to harm you, but to give you a bright future and success. And so trusting in God gives you the ability to see the problems, but to not being fully um, depressed, or rather fully broken with the problems that you're going to face in the journey of moving forward into your destiny. And so living with a purpose and morality, for many, trusting in God goes hand in hand when living a purposeful life and a moral life. They believe in adhering to ethical principles and treating others with compassion and kindness. They're guided by faith. So it's important to take note that people's beliefs and expressing with God, experiences rather, with trusting in God may vary very much. And so, depending on the religious and spiritual affiliations that they have. So, mainly the importance of trusting in God is simply that you lay your whole heart to Him and you lay your whole life to Him. And you're not, instead of stressing, you're not stressing, you lay your life to Him. And so I've accumulated a list of biblical scriptures that go hand in hand with trusting in God, and simply the ones that give us the idea, or rather the knowledge of how to trust in God, or what results do you get when trusting in God. And so trusting in God is simply the central theme in the Bible. In various numbers of scriptures, of chapters, we see people trusting in God, and it shows that it's very evident. You know, the one who lays his life on Jesus Christ chooses to trust in God. And so the first one I've categorized as God's faithfulness. So throughout the Bible, God's faithfulness is emphasized. He's unchanging and dependable, and he keeps his promises. Trusting God means relying on his character, knowing that he will never fail us. So, it's scriptures related. You can find them in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9, Psalms 33, verse 4, and First Corinthians chapter 1, verse 9. The second one speaks mainly about surrender and acknowledgement. So, trusting in God simply involves surrendering our will to His and acknowledging His majesty. It means recognizing that He knows what is best for us and allowing Him to control our desires. And so you'll find such scriptures that speak about surrendering and acknowledgement in the book of Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6, which is the scripture that I've laid as the foundation of this episode. And the other one is Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. And the third point is that letting go of fear. So trusting in God enables us to let go of fear and anxiety because we know that He is in control and has a plan for our lives. You'll find such scriptures in the book of Psalms 56, verse 3, Isaiah 41, verse 10, and First Peter chapter 5, verse 7. And the fourth point says that testing and strengthening of faith. You'll find some scriptures in the book of James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4, and the book of First Peter chapter 1, verse 6 to 7. And so just to keep this episode much shorter than it is right now, I would just make sure that I will drop all the notes in my description below. And if you're using Spotify, you will be able to see all the descriptions and you will be able to find everything and every scripture that I was trying to convey in this message. But the last one I want to read is that transforming and renewing of the mind. And so trusting in God involves renewing our minds to align with His truth. It means focusing on His promises rather than our circumstances and choosing faith over doubt. And you'll find those scriptures in the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 2, and the other one in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16 to 18. And so I just hope that as much as we go through life, we will allow ourselves to trust in God, and we will allow our lives, our minds, our heart to fully focus on the Lord Himself. He cares for us. He deeply cares for us. He says in His word that we need to give Him our burdens and take His yoke, for His yoke is light. His burden is light. And so trust in Him. Surrender your life to Jesus Christ, and you will receive peace and you'll receive healing in everything that you go through. And the basis of everything in trusting in God is simply surrendering your heart, trusting in Him with all your heart. And there's reward in that He will make your path straight if only you acknowledge Him in all your ways. I hope you were blessed with this one, and I hope you guys will begin to trust and realize the importance of trusting in God in your lives and being able to know that He is with you and He is waiting for you to trust in Him. And so I just pray that God will help you in every circumstance that you're going through, in every problem that you're going through. Just know that God is with you and He is willing for you to trust in Him. Cheers.